बिस्मिल्लाहिर्रहमानिर्रहीम। प्रीवियस क्लास की मुंगा वकतो च मुंबा यो मैथमेटिकल या कैलकुलस च कोम प्रॉब्लम्स दी दगबा डेरिवेटिव संगा खलु नो आ मुंग कतले वो उस नन च कोम टॉपिक मुंगकू दा मुंग गुरु च टेकिंग डेरिवेटिव एट अ पॉइंट पे यो स्पेशल पॉइंट बांधी या पे यो सिंगल पॉइंट बांधी या पे फॉर एग्जांपल पे यो वैल्यूज बांधी मुंग डेरिवेटिव संगा खलु ये मुंग सरा फॉर एग्जांपल यो फंक्शन दे दिल तब तो उस कमेंट्स की वली कम f of x is equal to यो फंक्शन दे मुंग सरा x square minus 3 where dependent symbolic variable is x. Now we have already defined in the previous lecture for taking derivative we need 3 steps. First of all you have to define the variable. The dependent variable is a symbolic variable. In the second step we have to define the function is a symbolic function. In the third step we have to take derivative of the symbolic function with respect to symbolic variable any xyz. So we have to take the 3 steps. Step number first, for example SMS A, we have to define the variable A is a symbolic variable. Now we have to define a symbolic function using inline keywords. For example, if 1 is equal to inline, and we have to define the above function A, let's say A power 2, A power A caret 2 minus 3. With respect to dependent variable x, we have defined the symbolic function. This is a symbolic function. Now the third step is to differentiate the function, the symbolic function. If one of here a small mistake take place. Redefine f1 is equal to let's f1 is equal to inline A power 2 minus 3 comma A is a symbolic. This is a inline function, a symbolic inline function. We need to differentiate this function. For example, for this DIFF, the function is f1 of A with respect to symbolic variable A. This is the differentiation. Now we want to find different result for value of dependent variable A, symbolic variable A. For this we need to take first of all derivative, then and make it inline. Then we can take different value of the derivative for the dependent variable A. The method is, for example, DER, we have to take derivative. The inline inside the function we differentiate if one of, for example, A comma A, then dependent variable A. This is a unique methods. For example, we have defined the same thing. We have defined A dot multiplication with the constant 2.0. Now different value of A will give different result. In this example we cannot use the A is a constant. For different constant value we cannot replicate this value, we cannot change this value. Now here DER, for example, if the value of A is 2, the answer will be this. If the value of A is this, the answer will be this. If the value of, so this is the derivative, this is called derivative at a point. So we have to define this by this way. For example, we have to check another example. Your example, G is equal to, G is a generalized, or we have to define inline function x cube. For example, 3 minus 1, where x is a dependent variable. We have to define, so by using this we have defined a generalized symbolic variable, a symbolic function g of x, and we have already a symbolic variable x over here. In the next step, to take derivative I have to use DERIVAT. Derivative is equal to DIFF g of x with respect to x. Take derivative of this, or this is the derivative of the function g of x with respect to x, which is x is a symbolic variable, this is a symbolic function. So we can find different differentiation function using this methodology. For example, if we still want to change the value of x and find a different result at a point, for example 1, 2, 3, so here we cannot do it. So another method which is called derivative at a point, we will use that. For example, g is equal to, the method will be g is equal to inline k د نن به ولیکئ چې x power 3 minus 1 comma symbolic variable x, enter define شولو der. For example, derivative is equal to inline. First of all, inline, after differentiation we will convert the derivative to a function again with respect to dependent variable x. The same step. For example, here we have right derivative, so we are using derivative in a different way. Derivative of function g of x, we have defined g of x over here, g of x, this function will find derivative with respect to x for a symbolic function g of x, and later on we have to define the derivative against is an inline function. So for this we are using this syntax, enter. So this is derivative, and again we have taken inline function. So for different value of x, this will give a different result. For example, derivt x3, when the result, for example 4 for 4 money different, for example 5 for 5 different value of x will give different results to you people. So this is called finding derivative at a point. امید دی چې تاسو ته به دام کلیر شوی وي. نو مونږ اصل کې دغه ګوره درې څلور سټیپه شول. اولنی به یو سمبالیک ویریبل ډیفاین کې، دلته به سټارټ کې زه تاسو ته وښیم. یو سمبالیک ویریبل به ډیفاین کې، دلته به زه تاسو ته هغه سټیپس ولیکم. فار ایگزامپل سټیپ نمبر 1 چې کوم دی، په سټیپ نمبر 1 کې سمبالیک ویریبل چې کومه پورې نه وي نو تاسو سره به ایشو جوړیږي. سمبالیک ویریبل چې کوم یوز کوي هغه به ډیفاین کې. Step number 2 یې موږ سره چې step number 2 define symbolic function. Step number 3 یې موږ سره دی take differentiation، او دا یې موږ سره یو next step دی. دا differentiation نه بعد به څه وکړي، make it in line with respect to dependent variable x. Then this will be use is derivative of a special function at a special point x, y, z, any value with respect to x you are doing derivative. This is the third step. The roundabout the third step is a nested step. First of all you will differentiate, and after differentiation you will make inline the differentiated function, a differentiated expression with respect to some dependent variable. Hopefully چې تاسو ته به دام کلیر شوی. انشاءالله په نیکست کلاس کې به مونږ د ډیفرنشیشن کې مونږ سره یو بل کنسپټ راسي چې مونږ ورته پارشل ډیریویټیو، نو په نیکست کلاس کې به انشاءالله مونږ پارشل ډیریویټیو چک کوو.